And hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. So today I actually have my good friend Rossi. I have Kim here. We're going to be talking about Pulp Fiction, and yes, I did forget the overlay, but that's going to be okay. But I'm actually happy to be able to talk about Quentin Tarantino's very first movie that he ended up making, aside from Reservoir Dogs. This is actually the one that put him on the map.
Right.
And this also resurrected Samuel L. Jackson's career, and also Bruce Willis and John Travolta's career as well.
Yes.
So without further ado, let's talk about Pulp Fiction scene by scene, and I'm excited to actually have everybody here tonight. And hey guys.
Hello, John.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey Kim, it's good to have you back over here. We did the super bad review. Now here you are again. You loved us just enough to come back and talk about some Quentin Tarantino. We appreciate that so much over here at Movie Lovers Unite. Thank you so much for wanting to come back.
Thank you. Thank you. It's my pleasure.
You're very welcome. So my question for you guys is, nostalgically, where do you stand as far as this movie goes? And I'll talk about my nostalgia rating in a few minutes, but I want to leave the floor open to you guys.
Okay. Kim, I'll let you go first.
I mean, I think it was huge when I was a kid. So, I mean, I love this movie. I love Quentin Tarantino. I think he did True Romance before this one.
Yeah, he wrote the script for that, and then he sold it. And so we can make Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, which are both amazing movies. Yeah, I love this movie. I do. I love all the actors in it, and yeah, it's a classic.
So, what's your rating as far as nostalgia goes? What would you rate it?
Oh, a 10.
Out of 10.
10 for sure.
A 10?
Yeah.
Oh, going high on the scale. Okay, that's pretty cool. Okay, what about for you, Rossi?
My rating is a 2. It was a struggle to get through. I think when I first watched it, it was something new and different. So I remember liking it at the time, but to rewatch it again, it was just like, I didn't. It's a 2. I just didn't enjoy it the second time. Yeah. So yeah, and then 2 hours and 32 or 30 minutes. Yeah, I think you
don't know what you're getting. Yeah.
Yeah, you and I were texting about it, and I was telling you my feelings, and so it's not one of my favorite Quentin Tarantino films, and I really love him, enjoy his movies. I just think at the time it was perfect because you didn't get films like that, and when he came out, he brought you something different. So I remember being excited about it and watching it, and thought it was really cool because it was different. But watching it again, no, I give it a 2.
I totally understand that, and that's fair, because I'm gonna be real with you. In order for me to watch this, you would probably have to tie me to a chair at the age that I've seen this to keep my attention.
Right.
And like you said, it does drag at the very beginning of it. It's hard to get through. Nostalgically, I'm gonna have to give this a 1.5.
Okay.
Out of 10. So mine's a little bit higher, maybe a little bit on the same scale as yours as well. But yeah, here's the thing. I remember as a kid, I remember the whole entire thing of where everybody was going like that.
Yeah.
Dancing. You could not go through a high school dance or junior high without doing something like that off the wall and just dancing. And of course, I remember John Travolta being in this movie. I remember Bruce Willis. I remember Samuel L. Jackson. I remember all that stuff. And then I remember walking in 15, 20 minutes of watching this and not understanding anything about this movie at all.
Right.
I felt like I was the one who wrote and directed this movie because I have ADHD. So I felt like, what the hell is going on here? So nostalgically, for me as a kid that's trying to watch this for the first time and trying to follow it, that's where I land as a 1. Now, when we go on ahead and strip away the nostalgia and stuff like that, maybe it might boost it up. You don't know yet, but you guys are just going to have to find out.
Right.
So, are you guys ready to go into this scene by scene and strip away the nostalgia?
Yes.
And go on ahead and just review this film. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all cool cats out there, welcome to Royal with Cheese, the podcast where we dive into the world of Pulp Fiction. I'm your host, John. your guide through the twisting, turning, and totally twisted Tarantino universe. Your partner in crime, ready to unpack the secrets of the suitcase, discuss the finer points of a foot massage, and figure out what Quentin Tarantino thinks of mayonnaise on fries. Is a good idea or not? I don't know what's up with that, but it is what it is. That's his world. That's what he likes doing. Today we are talking about the iconic diner scene. Spoiler alert: things are about to get real. So grab your big Kahuna burger, a $5 shake, and let's ready to dance like Uma Thurman on a Saturday night. And remember, if anyone gives you any lip, just tell them this is a tasty burger. Let's hit it.
What's up, Clint?
So yeah. So it opens up to the diner scene.
Yes.
And this is where I feel like that things really take off. This is actually a prologue before where we actually meet Vincent, before we actually meet Samuel Jackson's characters. And I thought it always kicked off with Samuel Jackson and John Travolta, but it starts off in a diner scene, and you see these two characters talking about bank robberies and
Pumpkin and Honey Bunny.
Yeah, it was just like a back and forth thing,
Right.
And I'm like, okay, so these guys are basically this couple who rob places, and they're talking about weird obstacles of where to rob places, and nobody would actually expect a diner.
Right.
So, I thought that the dialogue between them was pretty interesting when you look at it. And the British couple is named Pumpkin and Honey Bunny.
Right.
And they're eating breakfast at a diner as they chat about committing a robbery in the diner. They decide on this after discussing about their previous heist, as a restaurant might raise up money. The two then draws their guns and announce the heist. So what do you think of the opening scene?
Yeah, I thought, because I remember watching it, and like we were talking about, this is not a film that someone can just walk in 15 minutes after it started and then know what's going on. Like, you have to watch the film from the beginning, and we'll talk about how it all ties together. But I did like the opening scene. And just to mention the cast, one thing I love about the film, and it has all your favorites. I mean, and who you enjoy, who you watch growing up, it's in this film. And at that time, it was the best of the best in Hollywood. Really, really like that. And I love the references to Reservoir Dogs in the film that we end up finding out. But that open scene with Pumpkin and Honey Bunny, I thought that them sitting there having that crazy dialogue and then, robbing the place, I thought it was funny. It was interesting. I love her as a character. I've seen her in other things, and she always seems to play that same crazy character, but she's absolutely great and funny. And then when you see it later on, when it all comes together, I love the interaction and just her. So that was a great scene to start off. Yes. Kim?
And also too, Rossi, you and I reviewed a movie with her in it a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I remember seeing. What movie was that?
So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
She actually played the psycho
really
killer. Right. So yeah.
Yeah, so she's great. So I know she's great as an actress, and so them two together, absolutely great opening up the movie.
What about for you, Kim?
I think there's a lot of dialogue, so I can see why you guys think it's a little slow. I personally love the dialogue. I think it's really well written. I just want to give a shout out to Bruce Willis. I think he died yesterday.
Did he really?
I like that we're doing this movie too.
Oh wow, yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I got a notice yesterday that he passed away. So I love that we're kind of doing a movie.
Oh wow.
Where he's amazing, right?
So alive.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it just that's wild.
Yeah, Yolanda, I think, is Honey Bun, right? And she is amazing. I love her so much. But yeah, the dialogue is amazing. The girl that they're in, which you notice at the end of the movie too, because the movie ends at the restaurant, is called Hawthorne Grill, which Hawthorne is a plant that a lot of the Christian mythology thinks that Jesus, when he died, his crown was the hawthorn plant. Okay. And I think throughout this movie, you'll see a lot of like religious aspects, which I think is interesting.
Right,
yeah,
because don't forget, we actually see Samuel L. Jackson going through that whole entire deal too with the Christianity, with him quoting
right.
Bible verses and things like that too. So that does make sense
Yeah.
on that level. But also too, I want to piggyback off what you said though about the dialogue and stuff. For me, it was about where are we going with this scene, because I'm fine with dialogue as long as it's there to drive the story and the narrative of the story. But yeah, I just thought that, when it comes down to the dialogue, I was like, okay, where does this go? Where do
Right.
these characters meet at?
Right.
What's up with where's Vincent? Where's
Right.
John Travolta?
Right.
And Samuel L. Jackson? So and I didn't even realize it was even a prologue to that. And I was like, okay, how does this tie in? Then all of a sudden, after she gets up, it says, okay, everybody, get
Yeah.
down on the floor now. Then all of a sudden, it cuts over to Vincent and them and trying to pick up the briefcase.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, so now it starts off with them. So I was thinking, okay, is Tarantino going for one of those one-off kind of movies where it's like a legend kind of built? You know what I'm talking about? I'm trying to think of the actual word that they use when they're talking about like a one-off kind of movie or whatever. I forgot what it's called, but I was just wondering if it was going in that direction, and I wasn't sure how it was going to tie in together. But yeah, I thought the opening was fun, but I was wondering where it was going to go. So that's why it was like kind of like, okay, where's this going? Where's this building
absolutely.
Yeah.
I get that. And I think, watching it for the first time, or watching it for the second time, again, like we said, it starts off slow. And like you said, you're not really knowing where it's going until you realize, like with this film, the way that he did it was you're telling things backwards. It's just three different stories. And so you're starting from the end of the movie and then working our way up. And as you watch the movie, for me, it was like, okay, I kind of felt lost. And then once you realize what's going on, and I had to go and read the IMDb just to understand how he was writing the film. And then, as the movie goes along, you then can follow and understand what's going on in the film. So, and you understand why that beginning happened. It happened for a reason. So, yes, I agree with you, John.
All right.
Yes.
So next scene is Jules Winfield and Vincent Vega are in a car as Vince talks about his trip around the countries in Europe, including the Royale with cheese, of a French version of McDonald's, and the bars in Amsterdam. The two are in dress suits as they exit. They go in the car and trunk to retrieve their guns. Then enter in an apartment complex, and Vincent begins about Marcellus Wallace, their boss, throwing a man off of a fourth floor balcony for giving his wife a foot massage. After exiting the elevator, they enter an apartment of a man named Brett, with him and his friends being inside. Brett and his friend, a flock of seagulls, are eating a big Kahuna burger. Jules makes a fake bonding with Brett, and later drew the conversation of payment for Marcellus. Vince finds a suitcase belonging to Marcellus with a prized possession inside, which is unseen throughout the film. And Jules transfixes on Brett, officially shooting flock of seagulls and shooting Brett in the shoulder. Jules then quotes Ezekiel 25:17, a Bible speech before he and Vince executes Brett. So here's Bruce Willis was the only reason I watched some of this movie.
It's hard to watch.
It is definitely a hard movie to watch, but
my
I thought
husband
this
doesn't really like it. So
really,
it's not for everybody. I'll just say that. But this scene right here, though, was funny though, because I like how John Travolta is basically trying to justify the fact that of throwing somebody off the roof out of a window because his wife had a foot massage. Goes, well, I can understand that. That's perfectly fine. That's just the same as going down on somebody. And Samuel L. Jackson just looks at him and goes, "What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah,
it's not the same thing. It's not cheating.
It's the same."
But then he wins the argument because he's like, "Would you give a man a foot massage?"
Right.
So he won. He
And
wanted.
And I
then
love them two together, like the two hitmen together. I like John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson's interaction in this film. Like one thing that he did good about the film is every character was perfect for the part that they played. But I love
Yeah.
the interaction between the two hitmen and how their day moves along, you know,
Same
and
here.
the conversations back and forth, like the foot massage, you know, conversation and that, and then entering the apartment with the three guys going and looking for the briefcase, and the poor kid that's sitting there as Samuel takes his burger and preaching to him, and takes his drink and preaching to him, and the kid is just scared. And when he's asking him the one question, and he's like, what? And he's like telling him, if you keep saying that, and then shoots the kid on the couch. Which one thing that I have to say is, haven't seen the movie since I was like in my 20s, early 20s. I forgot about all that, you know. So seeing that scene, the movie was funny, you know. There were scenes that was funny, like I said, the two hitmen. But you tend to, for me, I tend to forget that when it goes to another story, I'm like, wait, what happened with, you know what I mean? Because it jumps around, it tells different stories. But that scene there, you then understand what's going on in that scene. But I thought it was funny, and the poor kid that gets shot on a couch. And I thought that the black guy, I forget, Marvin or whatever his name,
Marvin,
when
yeah.
when they were shooting and that scene's over, I was sure that everyone in that apartment was dead.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and opening up the briefcase because it kind of lights up. So I was wondering what's in the briefcase.
Yeah. And
Same
then
here.
why didn't they shoot Marvin? Right?
And yeah, right. Why didn't they shoot him?
I don't know. I was wondering that too.
Yeah,
I'm wondering if that's because of the fact, like maybe he told them what they needed and they gave him the briefcase without having to fight them, but made it look like, I don't know. But I just thought it was kind of crazy how they crossed that line and picking and choosing who they kill
right.
Yeah.
and making their own rules as to how they do things.
Right.
So I thought that was kind of interesting on how they play that off. But also too, even with the Royale with cheese and everything and stuff like that, I like that part, that dynamic with, like you said, Rossi, between Samuel Jackson and
Yeah.
John Travolta. It was just funny.
Yeah.
Because damn, that sounds like some gourmet shit. Because I like that. But that definitely plays out. And then they go into the, like you said, he shoots the flock of seagulls, so he lets the other guy go. But I feel like this is just them making their own rules and stuff like that, because they have a job to do. And they know if they leave a bunch of bodies around, probably people are going to ask questions.
Yeah.
So they have to at least leave one bystander alive, I think. That's just me speculating.
Or they were like bringing him back somewhere too, because I wasn't sure, like, were they bringing him to Marcellus or
right?
I don't know.
Right.
Why would they take him with them too? I don't know.
Right.
We'll never know.
We'll never know. And then the poor accident that happens with them later on, we'll talk about. But yeah, because they're both actually very clumsy hitmen.
Yeah.
They get themselves in situations, you know what I mean?
Well, Vincent more. I think Vincent's a little more clumsy than Jules, but
you know what I like about this though too? This is different. Usually we see this with like a buddy cop movie with the back and forth and the banter.
Yeah.
But they have two hitmen that have that body cop kind of flavor. It's totally different and it's outside the box thinking.
Right.
Like you said, Rossi, it's something that hasn't been done before in this style. So I definitely like it. And it also has like a little bit of a throwback of the spaghetti Western kind of feel to it of those kind of films.
Yeah.
So I definitely like the Groundhouse kind of feel to it. This.
Absolutely.
But are you guys good on the second scene?
Yes, we are.
Okay. So third scene, Vincent Vega and Marcella Wallace's wife. At a bar.
Oh my gosh, right.
Marcellus Wallace speaks with prize fighter Butch Coolidge. Marcellus tells Butch Coolidge to throw the fight as he bribes Butch with an envelope of stacks of money. Vincent and Jules, who are now dressed in t-shirts and shorts, enters the bar as Jules go to the bathroom after a conversation with Vince about escorting Marcellus's wife. Vince has a brief encounter with Butch in Vince, making an insult before Vince is called by Marcellus. And we're going to talk about that a little bit, and then later Vince buys a high-graded heroin from a drug
Oh,
dealer
right.
and a good friend Lance from a different countries when where Vince had briefly chat with Lance's wife when she discussed about piercings. But
Right.
before we get into that, we're just going to talk about that bar scene. Um, I was wondering why the hell are they dressed and with their boxers on? They don't have
Yeah.
their
Right.
suits on anymore. It has like a quick cut transition from how they
Right.
walked out of the apartment and now you're going into this area.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's different. And then also too, you don't see what Marcellus Wallace looks like. So I like the fact that you have a little
Oh,
bit of a mystery element of who he is.
absolutely.
Because all you see is the back of his bald head, and that's all you
Right.
see. But I already know who the actor is because I've seen him in
Right.
a bunch of other stuff. But from someone that might not have seen it back in the 90s or anything like that, or seeing it in the 90s, you might not know who that is.
Right.
But I just thought it was an interesting way of introducing a villain in that kind of way. But also, too, you also feel bad for Butch for trying to being paid off to throw the fight
Right.
as well. So, what did you think about that?
With that scene, first of all, I love the fact that we get introduced to Bruce Willis in the film, and I am a big fan of Bruce Willis, so I was happy to see him. And plus, what's going on? It was also just seeing him in his heyday. You know what I mean? Like Bruce Willis. You know, he's huge. So it was so nice to see him in the film because I totally forgot that he was in a film. That's what's great about rewatching it is I forget a lot of people that was in the film, so it was a pleasant surprise. So seeing Bruce Willis, it was like, yes, that's right, Bruce Willis was in here, and that scene of him having to throw the fight, but also meeting Marcellus for the first time, and we knew he was bald, you know, because they mentioned it, but to see him for the first time and us knowing who it was. Yeah, I like the scene, but I was confused when the both the hitmen walk in and they're in beach clothes, like they've been at the beach. So, you know, if you're someone watching it for the first time, you're lost. Like, what fuck's going on? You know, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So sorry guys, but
No,
anyways, you know,
I'm
that's how I
cussing too,
was.
so
Like,
it's
I was lost. Like, why are they in that? You know, but great scene. I'll let Kim talk.
No, I think it's interesting you mentioned the back of his head because doesn't it remind you of like the villain from Inspector Gadget or something?
yes,
Like
thank
where they
Yes,
only
you.
that's
show like the
Yes,
back of
right.
his head.
I was going to
That's
say
I
that, but I'm
love
glad you
that.
did.
It's kind of like a mystery to him or something, right? Because you're like,
Right.
Right,
and then of course,
And
like
yeah,
Bruce Willis is just like doesn't care about like what's happening. He's like, because he already knows he's playing both sides. He's not worried about his you know, about whatever Marcellus has to say because
right,
he already has an intention in mind,
absolutely.
which definitely plays like I love how Quentin Tarantino like has you hate and love these people all at the same time.
Yes,
He does
right.
that a lot with his
yes,
characters, and I just love
You
that.
almost
very
forget that they're
true.
even hitmen too. You forget that
Yeah,
they're even
Yeah,
hitmen because of the casual conversation, and the conversation doesn't feel forced. It actually just
right,
feels like every day. And we're gonna get into the whole entire cafe scene because I have a lot to say about that whenever he meets Uma Thurman because
right,
of the conversation that they have, and I want to touch on that. But just the casual way of just talking to your friend and then having banter and talking shit back and forth.
right,
I love it. I love that what Tarantino does here.
right,
And
yeah,
seeing Bruce Willis in this movie, and I knew he was in it, but the way he gets introduced is really fascinating because
right.
is one shot zoomed in wide angle shot of Bruce on his face, and you're
Yeah,
seeing Marcellus just talking to him, and he has that little smirk on his face, like that little
right.
asshole face
Yeah,
of his, and you already know he's trying to do something on the slick, but this was actually his comeback because all he was doing, and he wasn't really doing much with his career. John Travolta was doing nothing but Look Who's Talking movies
right. That's
and
right.
stuff like
That's right.
that. So, this was actually a perfect way to actually have Bruce Willis back.
Right.
And like you mentioned, Cam, the little shot of him just in the bald head and stuff like that of the main boss was perfect. It reminds me of Inspector. I would have been okay if they just did that the whole entire time and just
Yeah,
showed
have
us
just to show his show the
right
back of
because I
his
think
head the
it
whole
leaves a
time.
little bit of
oh,
a
that would have
mystery
been
element.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, and then you see that Vincent, Marcellus Wallace now wants Vincent to go ahead and go
yeah,
and take Mia out, And
Right.
now he's wondering if he's even going to get thrown out the window himself.
Yes.
And his anxiety's up.
Oh yeah, he's totally stressed out. He doesn't want to take the boss's wife out. And remember, he's having a talk with himself, kind of like, just gonna go out, just gonna have dinner, gonna bring her back home, just gonna, and not knowing the night that they would have together. And I also, Uma Thurman's great. So to see her at that time in this film was pretty exciting too.
It was. It definitely was.
Because she had an iconic look,
I love that look of her. And we'll talk about that too. And we're gonna get there. We're gonna get right down to that. But then I'm tearing up stuff in the studio. But anyways, but no, like I was saying and everything, stuff like that too. Then you go over to the heroin dealer.
Yes.
And, you see that scene getting played off where he's trying to buy the drugs.
Right.
And because he needs something to calm himself down, but he's getting speed to calm himself down. And he's getting it from other countries. He doesn't even know what anything is. And the drug dealer's like, this does this, this does this, this does this.
Right.
And then you have his wife over there.
Right.
And he goes, hey, want to smoke weed with my wife? She's the one with all the shit in her face. Talking about all the piercings.
All the piercings and all that. How great was it that he cast Rosanna Arquette in this in that part? Like Rosanna Arquette is just great. She's also one of my favorite actresses. She can play just about any part, and she plays these type of parts really good. These kooky little parts really good, and she's so comfortable. But them just having that conversation about her piercings and how she did that and why she has her piercing in her tongue and just that whole conversation. Yeah.
And I just thought it was funny. Oh, that's your wife? Oh, she's beautiful. She looks great.
Yeah, right.
And then it cuts over to him now driving later at night. He drives to Marcellus's house to pick up Mia, who is watching Vince Vega's security camera from a room. The two of them arrives at Jack Rabbit Slim, a 1950s themed restaurant with employees having beer resemblance to deceased celebrities as they eat. And also too, whenever you see him walk into the apartment, I like how you don't see her. You see her watching the security camera.
Right.
And she goes, Vincent, he goes, yeah, I'll be out in a minute. He goes, where are you? I'm on the intercom right now. Just make yourself comfortable. And she has like this dominance about her.
Yeah.
Because she's the boss's wife, but at the same time, it's that female dominance that we don't see in the 90s or anything like that. Of her just having this charisma. This I'm trying to think of the word I'm thinking of. But basically you have confidence in yourself. She has a lot of confidence in herself and stuff like that. I thought that was really fascinating. And then you also have she goes, so where you want to go? I want to get a steak. He goes, well, I want to get a burger. So they go to this 1950s place, and it reminds me of when I went to Alabama because they have this. They have a 1950s cafe over there.
Okay.
But they're not dressed up in different celebrities or anything like Buddy Holly.
Marilyn Monroe serving you food.
Right.
I love that little restaurant. I thought that was really cool. I thought that was a really cool. I love the car.
When they when they introduce Mia, they don't show her face. They only show her feet.
Right.
I thought that was because of the whole foot massage thing.
And her doing the lines and the huge lines of coke or whatever it was that she was doing. They go to the restaurant and just their interaction together. And remember, he's trying to be as respectful as he can because that's the boss's wife and he doesn't really want to be there and having to take her out. And they have a hell of a night. But I thought the restaurant theme was cool.
Yeah, and even whenever they ask her what she wants, she goes, well, I want a burger, some fries, and I also want milkshake. Goes, wait.
$5 shake.
Goes, how much is that? $5? Goes, is there bourbon in it? No. Oh. And he goes, I don't see no steak on here.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, dude, you do realize you're in a cafe. They're not going to serve you steak at this place.
Right.
And I like how they order their food is like, how do you want it? Bloody. Like, damn. I was like, well, how bloody is bloody? Because if it's a hamburger, I don't want my meat to be that bloody. I like my steak a little bit of pink in the middle, but I don't want my hamburger that way.
What concerned me was when
Right.
she accidentally did the wrong line. She thought it was cocaine, but it was heroin. And I remember I didn't remember if she lived. So I'm thinking at that time like she died. Like oh my God, she died. Um, the boss's wife died. Me not remembering how the movie goes. I remember telling my husband, "Oh my God," because he's in the kitchen, like, "Oh my God, she died. She died. Mia died." But she had overdosed. John, you can go ahead. I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah. We're gonna dive into that part
Separate
too.
overdose,
But the casual conversation of how how they're talking about that quietness at a date and trying to meet somebody that for the first time and having that quietness, that awkwardness and stuff. Because
Right.
well, we haven't reached that point yet. And also too about how conversations don't lead up to nothing. And
Right.
if you think about that, that's a resemblance of what Vincent and Samuel L. Jackson's character were doing. They were talking about nothing.
Right.
They were talking just about hamburgers and going
right.
Amsterdam and everything else.
Random.
So it's just rambling. And I
Yeah.
love how it resembles those characters in that kind of way. It's characterization of the characters and who they are, and it's just beautiful in the way they wrote that. Quentin Tarantino wrote that.
Right.
But I like how they get mixed up with who's serving them. And matter of fact, they said, "Is that Marilyn Monroe?" And then it turned out to be another 1950s star. But then this also happens as a man announces the annual dance contest. Mia selects herself and Vince, and they win the trophy. The two arrives back at Mia's house with the trophy. Vince goes to the bathroom to urine as Mia sits on the couch. Vince then talks to himself in the mirror of his farewell goodbye to Mia. That's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to go on ahead. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go jerk off, and I'm going to be okay. It's going to be fine. I hope I didn't take things too far like I thought I did.
Like his inner dialogue.
Right.
I'm so sorry. I live with like 6 people. I'm just going to be, I feel like it's loud in the background. Are you guys hearing that? Is everything okay?
No,
okay,
I don't hear anything.
I live with a lot of people and it's hard to get like a spot.
No, we don't hear.
No, you're good.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
I hear nothing. It's like silent.
Okay, good. I'm sorry.
And then then of course
then he comes out and is like, "Oh, I gotta go," and then he sees her.
And then he sees her.
But can we talk about that song that Mia's playing though? Because I really love that song.
What song was it?
Girl, You'll Be a Woman.
Yeah, you'll by Neil Diamond. But that was actually the cover version.
I love that song.
And I just thought it was cool because of the fact that she's playing this 1950s song, and you're going to be a woman someday, and she's doing the heroin.
Right.
And I just thought it was very catching. I really thought he paid really good attention to details within the song itself and things like that. Then you also have this
kind of about innocence lost. So it kind of goes with like, she's definitely not as innocent after this night's over, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
But like you were going ahead, Cam. I know that you said that Vincent was like, okay, by me, it was nice, it was fun and everything, but I gotta go. Oh shit. Oh fuck. I got what's going on. So he calls up the drug dealer that sold him the drugs. He goes, "Look, man, I don't know what's going on. She's ODing over here. You need to go on ahead, and I'm gonna come over." "No, you do not need to come over here." Why the fuck?
Doesn't Lance kind of look like Jesus a little bit?
He does have that. Yes.
Probably did that on purpose, right?
Right.
Maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
So, like, Jesus is the heroin dealer.
That's a scary thought.
Yeah.
But but. And then Lance is like, don't bring her over here. Well, guess what? It's going to be on you because she's Marcellus Wallace's wife. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
So he goes on ahead.
Jody's so pissed.
And so is his wife. He goes, "Why the fuck did he bring her back over here for?"
Yeah, Jody.
Yeah, Jody. But go on ahead. Talk about that scene, though, Kim.
Yeah, you know what's crazy is he, like, runs into the house, which... I don't remember that from last time I saw it, but like he like messed up his car a little bit. He like ran into the side of the house. and he's like, "You just ran into my house," and then he's like, "Do not bring her in here." And he's like dragging her in. That part was hilarious.
Then they give her like a shot of adrenaline or something
Yep.
to bring her back, and that's when I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, so she lived through it, and they agree not to tell Marcellus about it, her own little secret, because she knows she would get in some, heat for that, and also obviously, he would as well, because he was responsible.
And then
for.
she tells that joke, which I don't know about you guys, but because I love Kill Bill. I'm like a huge Kill Bill fan. And there's actually 5 assassins in Kill Bill, and Bill, of course. So but the Fox Force 5, and they each have their own little like characteristics. Like one's a knife person. And while she's telling the story, did it not remind you like of Kill Bill, the Kill Bill story, or like the assassins in Kill Bill? I thought that was interesting.
I haven't seen Kill Bill, so I'm gonna.
I haven't seen Kill Bill in a while, to be honest with you.
I've never seen it.
You guys have to. That's okay. That one's hard to watch too, but honestly, it's so good. It's so good. We should definitely do that one next.
Mm-hmm. Kill Bill.
It's a really good one. That's probably one of my favorite movies of all time.
It's actually streaming on Netflix right now too.
Oh, so
yep.
I guess it's not just one movie though. It's 2, right?
Yeah, Kill Bill Volume 1 and then Volume 2. Yeah, there's 2 of them. And also make sure you put your subtitles on, because I was trying to watch it the other day without the subtitles on, and it was in Japanese. And I'm like, oh, they must be doing
some of it, yeah. Some of it is, yeah. So, I mean, I think you get the gist either way, though.
Right. But yeah, I definitely got some Kill Bill vibes, though, whenever Bruce Willis had the katana at the end.
Yeah, because I know about that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But I didn't pick up on that. I need to go. Matter of fact, I need to go back and rewatch Kill Bill Volume 1 to take a look at that.
I don't know. Yeah, the story, the pilot story that she was talking about, just reminded me of the Kill Bill story. So I just thought that was interesting.
But yeah, at this point, Vince drives Mia back home, and before she enters the house, Mia agrees to Vince not telling, like you said, Marcellus about the incident, and Vince gives her a quiet low kiss.
Yeah,
and she tells the tomato joke or whatever.
Yeah,
which she only tells people she really likes or something. So she's kind of saying to him like, "We're cool. I really like you," or I trust you or something. Yeah. Then
we get the prelude to the gold watch now. And this is the point where I start liking the movie a lot more.
Okay.
Because I remember I was texting my friend Chris. And everything. I was like, okay, so I'm on this gold watch scene. And he's geeking out over it. We're talking back and forth. But yeah, this is actually where I start enjoying the film a little bit more. As a young Butch watches television, he is interrupted by a visit from Captain Coons, a Vietnam War veteran who is a good friend of Butch's deceased father. Captain Coons explains to Butch that the generations of Coolidge men has been passing a golden watch down since the beginning of the First World War. Captain Coons also explains that Butch's father has been hiding the watch and is wrecked for
5 years.
For
5 years.
Yeah, 5 years. Where Butch's father passed the watch to Coons as he dies. Coons then hid the watch inside his rectum for 2 years into delivering it to Butch. And Coons gives his watch to Butch. Suddenly a bell rings and the present-day adult Butch wakes up as he is in his boxing clothing as his boxing match begins.
Right.
Christopher Walken as the father and knowing that he goes, I hid a rectum. I had a watch in my rectum. I know that's a horrible impression, but no. Just him showing up out of the blue because you don't expect it. And
I forgot he was another, like I said, he picked the best actors to be in this film, and when it was released, like, you get why it's a cult classic. I understand why Pulp Fiction is a cult classic, because you didn't have films that was made like this, with 3 different stories going on at the same time, and then you have an iconic actor that appears in a film, and you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot he was in it. So like I said, it's all your favorites, but yeah, when you see him, Christopher Walken, in that scene, it absolutely hilarious. I love him, and but the story about the watch, I totally forgot that. So I'm like, what the hell? Clint and I were just laughing. I think that's when he started to like the film as well. John, is when Christopher Walken showed up,
You
and
see, you
yeah,
just have to have things at people's asses, and people
yeah,
will.
just
I guess I don't
the
know.
No,
story.
that watch went through a lot.
It went
Yeah.
through a lot. Yeah,
It came, it's seen, and it watched.
right.
But if I was a kid, I would like, look, Dad, can you just get me a watch at the mall? I'm good. I wouldn't want that. Seriously, I don't want your shit.
Well, I
Like,
don't
literally.
think it was his dad. It wasn't his dad. It was like a friend of his dad's, because his dad
That's
actually
even
died in the war.
worse.
Yeah, it is kind of. It makes it even worse.
But yeah, so after that happens, after we get the flashback, Butch flees the boxing arena into a taxi with an attractive Colombian female taxi driver, rushing all out the alleyway. As Butch changes his boxing colors into a regular clothing, the taxi driver, whose name is Esmeralda Valedos, asks Butch about murdering his opponent. Butch realizes that he had double-crossed Marcellus and that the opponent fighter
That's
is
right.
now dead.
Right.
Back at the arena, Vince and a bartender who works at the bar earlier walks to where Marcellus is waiting on the opponent dead body with Mia alongside. Marcellus makes a threat remark on Butch. Butch arrives at the motel where his French girlfriend Fabinine is laying down, where the two make love.
Right.
In the morning, Butch gets dressed and finds that Fabinine has forgotten to pack the golden watch, causing Butch to go on a savage outburst. So, what did you think about the fact that it goes into flashes into present day, and now he's in the boxing ring and he flees and to get a taxi? What do you
When
think
he
about
runs
that?
into Marcellus,
Yeah.
that's when yeah. Oh,
Well,
that scene was
it's-
that scene was absolutely crazy. Them fighting
Well-
each other, and then happened to walk into the wrong pawn shop. I
Well,
mean,
that was before.
Was it?
Yeah.
okay. Kim, you
This is-
talk about it, because
So
No, yeah. I mean, he flees and then he goes and sees his girlfriend or whatever, which she looked very young, didn't she?
right. Yes.
And she's like, we're in danger. We're, if they find us, we'll die. But she still wants to go with him, which is always like surprises me. But I don't know. He starts to get really mad at her because she forgot the watch, but then he quickly is like, no, it's okay. It's not your fault. And then like, I don't know about you guys, but when he's sneaking through to get to the apartment, I'm like so scared that like someone's going to see him. I love that scene because he's like, and then, Vincent makes the huge mistake of
Right.
leaving his gun on the counter. He should have brought it with him to the bathroom.
Right.
But I think when he goes back to get his watch, he turns into a good guy. Like he's a bad guy. He's a double crosser. We hate him. He killed some guy in the ring. But when he goes back to get that watch, he's like, all of a sudden turns into like the good guy, right? The guy who's like trying to protect something that means a lot to his family. And we're like rooting for him at that point, So I think that's where like the shift kind of turns as far as like our feelings about Butch or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, that scene when he sees Marcellus and with the donuts.
Yes.
And then just like runs him over. I love
Right.
that scene. And Kathy Griffin. Is it Kathy Griffin?
It
right?
was Kathy Griffin in the street. That's right. She was the one coming up to him to tell him who went where, whatever. And then when they start shooting, they flee. But yeah, that was Kathy Griffin, who I totally spaced that was in the film.
Right. And then, like you mentioned, Ken, like he goes from being a bad guy to someone that's being killed, to actually being a good guy now, because now he's just wanting his watch and trying to get, just basically trying to be good. And, but yeah, Butcher, then, you also have the French girlfriend is laying down and they made love. And I thought the dynamic between the two of them was really good. I thought that was a pretty neat scene. Then he drives to the apartment, and then get this. I like how he goes, "You mean to tell me you didn't bring my watch? Of all things, you didn't bring my watch. That's it. I don't know what I'm going to do." Next thing you know, he goes over to the hotel. Right. He sees, and then someone's in the bathroom.
Yep.
And who is it? It's Vincent. He comes out of the bathroom.
Shoots him dead.
He shoots him dead.
Shoots him dead.
With the Mac 11 on his counter, and then finds that someone else is in the house, only the bathroom. Butch grabs the gun and readies it at as Vince, who is using the bathroom, exits out and settles and is startled of Butch. The confrontation is silent and unmovable for a moment until Butch's Pop-Tarts pop up. And Butch shoots Vince several times in the chest, killing him and causing his body into crashing into the tub and setting the alarm off. So I thought it was funny that they used the Pop-Tarts as a way to actually say, okay, now it's time to shoot him.
Right. I know. Do you think he would have shot him if the Pop-Tart hadn't come up right then? I'm always like, maybe Vincent could have talked him out of it, right?
I think he would have still shot him because, number one, he's trespassing in his apartment. So he's breaking and entering. You already have Marcellus Wallace wanting to whack him for killing somebody in the ring that he was supposed to throw the fight. So he would have killed him anyways. And it would still have been the same outcome. You know? But I like the idea of there's a multiverse. If something wouldn't have happened, if the Pop-Tart didn't happen, then all of a sudden he said, "You know what, man? Let's just have a conversation."
Right.
You know, but that's an Elseworld kind of situation, which I thought would be pretty funny to actually see. But then Butch leaves the watch, and as he stops at a red light, like you mentioned, Rossi, he sees Marcellus and donuts and coffee walking in the street, and he stops to look at Butch. Look at Butch. Marcellus's surprise remarks, "Motherfucker," before Butch pulls off and running over Marcellus, resulting in a car accident. Marcellus regains consciousness with a group of female citizens helping him, as one of them points out Butch, who has a facial injury of a bloody broken nose. Marcellus then pulls out his gun and shoots at Butch, injuring a civilian due to the phase from the runover.
That's right.
Butch runs into a local store where he encounters Maynard. And as Marcellus walks in and is beaten, Maynard forces Butch to surrender. He then knocks out Butch and makes a phone call while Marcellus loses consciousness again.
Yeah, that scene, I remember. Who forgets that scene? Like, I haven't seen the movie in years, but I remember, oh gosh, that's the one scene, and I knew it was coming up, so I kind of fast forward through it a little bit, because I didn't want to see the whole scene. But that was a brutal scene because I've never seen that done in a movie before, where the guy is the one that gets raped in the movie, and then such a big character like that, the boss. Like, I was not expecting that, and it was just brutal, And so obviously, they get loose. Bruce, sees the katana, and I remember he was going to leave, and like Kim said, you then start looking at him as a good guy, because he could have left dude in the back, and he's being raped. He could have left him in the back, but remember, he gets to the door to leave, and he thinks about it, and he's like, his conscience gets the best of him, and he's gonna go and help him because obviously he needs help. And even though they're enemies, I just like that, like Kim said, you then start looking at him as he's actually a good guy, Butch. But man, that scene was just
graphic.
It was so graphic. I wasn't expecting it the first time. Like, normally they don't show it, but they showed it, and it was just like, wow.
And I think it's about masculinity, of the fact that you have this mob boss who is supposed to be tough, and then he's getting that masculinity now taken away and stripped from him. And I guess Tarantino wanted to capture that, but there's other ways to do it besides showing us the full shot of it. But it's about taking away someone's masculinity to the point of the fact that I had it all together. I was the mob boss. I got ran over just a few minutes ago by someone that was supposed to make me money. And now I wouldn't be in this predicament if it wasn't for him running me over.
Right.
And I wouldn't have to be in the pawn shop either and getting knocked out if it wasn't for Butch either. Right. So everything is landed on Butch's fault because
there's
of what's happening.
There's a lot of karma stuff going on.
Yeah, right.
Like Vincent dies after killing Marvin.
Yeah.
Marcellus gets raped after he's been doing very bad things.
Right.
I love the one-liners in this movie. There's so many one-liners that we still use today, and people probably don't even know where they get them from.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna go medieval on his ass.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who doesn't know that one? You probably haven't seen the movie, but you've heard the quote.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I love that.
But Rossi, that was graphic, and then him hitting him with the killing the other guy with the katana was graphic. Yeah. It was a cool scene to see Bruce Willis try and take it out right.
Falls off, that was graphic. And he's in pain. Him said the one-liner that he uses, and that's a Quentin film for you. I mean, that's what makes his film so different is he shows all that in his films and a lot of guns and stuff. And at the time, that's what was great because you didn't see a lot of films like that. And just that scene alone, no director at the time that I've seen had shown a scene like that. And then the conversation between Butch and Marcellus when Butch is asked him, like, are you okay? And he's like, how am I, no, I'm not okay. Like, dude, I just got raped and I'm not okay. And I think you even see like, I think you see tears coming down Marcellus's face as he's standing there after Butch asked him, are you okay? And then, he's like, I'm going to call a bunch of my guys over and we're going to make sure that he feels that pain. So, that was just a graphic scene, but,
right.
It wasn't just there just to be there. He wasn't just putting it there. It was there for a reason. So, yeah.
Right. Now we got the Bonnie situation. And at first I thought this was where I was going to end, was on that. I don't know why. I thought it was going to end with Bruce Willis at that moment. I don't know why, but I'm like, okay, so I have a little bit more. So that situation's done. The Bonnie situation now. The chapter picks off of the prelude of the Vincent Vega and Marcellus Wallace's wife with the execution of Brett. Vincent Jules has Marvin, their informant, to be quiet due to shockingly mumbling. Another man comes from the bathroom and shoots wildly at the hitman. However, the bullets fired and missed, and the two return fire, killing the man. Vince taunts on Marvin for not warning them about the man in the bathroom. Jules then examines the bullet holes in the wall and thinks that God had stopped the bullets, leading to a miracle. Vince and Marvin then leaves the apartment.
Right.
But
and that's
what did you think of that? How that scene got played out?
Kim, what did you think?
I mean, divine intervention, I think Marvin's character does a really good job. I just love his acting in it. You sense the fear because he's kind of like us, right? He feels like us in the movie, like what just happened.
Right.
And I love Jules so much. I just think his monologues are just like
and the righteous man is gonna
he's just talking to himself most of the time, it's so good. I mean, he's it's funny to be Ezekiel 25:17, to be constantly kind of a religious man but then not a religious man. He's definitely an interesting character.
Right? Now all of a sudden he wants to be Christian-like and wanting forgiveness because it's a gift from God. I thought maybe the guy would have blanks. I thought, okay, well, maybe that's how I thought.
Yeah.
But okay, so then we actually have in Jules's car, Vince talks to cops and to Jules. Jules considers himself retired because of his dangerous occupation as a hitman. Vince then asks Marvin about the bullets in the wall, but Marvin's replying of an opinion. Vince turns to Marvin and tells him that he believes that God stopped the bullets. However, Vince Vincent's gun accidentally goes off, shooting
Right.
and killing Marvin with a headshot and spraying brain matter and blood inside the car and on the duo.
What
Jules
a bloody
scolds
scene.
Vince
What a
for
bloody
shooting
scene.
Marvin in the face and complains about the bloody mess in the car. Jules then calls Jimmy, a friend of his, to help them to his house.
Oh, right.
And okay, so the blood on the, I like how he goes, can you believe this shit right here? Can you believe, do you actually believe this? And all of a sudden it just spray. I'm like, okay,
I couldn't believe
did
it
not see
happened. I
that.
was like, oh my gosh, did they really just shoot him? Like, I was shocked. I mean, I remember I just turned my head and all of a sudden they got blood all over them. I'm like, wait, oh my gosh, they just shot her in the back seat on accident. On accident. And they're just a bloody mess and having to, and I guess that's the next scene, obviously, is when we get to, see Quentin Tarantino in the film and him having a fit about
Yeah.
this black man is in my garage bloodied and the wife is going to be home like quickly.
I know.
Yeah.
Do they say where Jimmy and Jules knew? Like, are they old school friends? You think?
Oh, the go ahead,
They
John.
must be, right?
Here's the thing. I was thinking that Jules was a friend, like as in friend as mob friend.
Right.
Oh,
That's what I was getting at. And then you just see he's just a regular dude that
Yeah.
is broke, doesn't have anything. And
Yeah.
even the guy who's over there trying to help clean him up, which is also the brother of the guy from Reservoir Dogs.
Right, Winston
And-
Wolfe. Yeah.
Yeah, Winston Wolfe comes
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
And I like how he puts perspective on it and goes, look, look, man, my wife's going to be home in a few minutes. She's going to flip her lid on this whole entire thing. I don't want them here. And he goes, and then I like how he tells Vincent and Jules how to clean up the mess in the car.
Yeah.
And then he winds up saying, look, we're going to have to use these sheets. He goes, not these sheets. These sheets came from Aunt Judy. Da, 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 da. And he goes, let me ask you something. Was your Aunt Judy rich? No. Did she leave you any money? No. Then what the fuck is the problem? Because I promise you, Marcellus Wallace will reimburse you for new sheets that are 10 times better than what these are.
no,
And
a
I
whole
like how-
bedroom set.
Yeah.
You
A
know?
whole
Do you like
bedroom
oak?
But that one scene, I have to say, made me cringe. It wasn't, that scene right there doesn't hold up today or anything like that. And I would have to, that was like the only thing that didn't work for me as far as this part goes, because of how over the top it was and how much of it was, how it was used in this movie. But I understand what he was going for. He was using dark humor to go with it. It was just too over the top for me, but I understand where they were going with it. But hey,
Right.
but then, after that happens, when we actually have somewhere around the house, the wolf is having a phone conversation with possibly Morales and Jules. The wolf writes down the information of the address, Vincent and Jules' names, and
Right.
Bonnie Marvin description of no head. The wolf says that he will arrive in 10 minutes. Around 10 minutes later, 9 minutes, 37 seconds later, the wolf arrives. But okay, another thing that I thought that was funny was, he goes, look, man, I like how Vincent just looks at him and goes, look, I don't like being told what to do. I would like for you to just say, please. I'm like, dude, like you said, Cam, it's about karma. They're in this mess because of you.
Yeah.
And you want him to say, please?
Right.
And then after all this happens, Jewel, we're also introduced to Wolf's daughter.
Yes.
And then they wind up shaking his hands, and then they wind up leaving. And he goes, you see, that's what I like. I like respect. That's what
I
you
thought
call
it was
respect.
Wolf's daughter too. Raquel. I also
Yeah,
thought that, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Because Joe, my husband, came in at the end and saw that, and he's like, "That's not his daughter." And I was like, "Yeah, it is. She's gonna inherit the place afterwards."
Yeah, that is his daughter.
Or
Yeah, that
does
was
she
his daughter.
is she just the daughter of whoever owns Monster Joe's?
I thought she was the daughter of Winston Wolfe.
I thought so too, but
Yeah,
or is she
because
just
when
like
they go to the junkyard, he explains that she's going to inherit all of this.
Oh, that's Monster
Yeah.
Joe's daughter. I'm just looking
Monster
through it.
Joe's daughter.
Oh,
I think.
really? Okay.
That's
Okay.
what I don't know.
Wolf-
'Cause I
I
thought
it
that
was
too.
about
But then he doesn't introduce her like as his daughter. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I
This
don't think
is-
Wolf owns Monster Joe's, right?
I think it's just a place for just getting rid of bodies
getting
or
rid of.
getting.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
I'm looking at it
I
through
thought it was just the daughter for some reason.
right.
I thought so too at first, but I don't think it was. I don't know.
No.
I think he's just being nice and taking her out to eat. I don't know. Because that's how cool Wolf is, you know?
Right. He had that style with him. I love Wolf. I definitely like how he was supposed to be the brother of Reservoir Dogs. I definitely like how they used it. And I think and like my friend Chris said to me yesterday, he goes, I think that they were trying to get this get the brother to come back or whatever. It just didn't land or something.
Right.
But but now we're going into the epilogue. At the
Yes.
Hawthorne Grill, Jules and Vince are enjoying breakfast. Vince asked that if Jules wants bacon. Jules declines, stating that he doesn't eat dirty animals like pigs and dogs. They switch the topics about the miracle that they had witnessed. Vince defines the miracle, but also the act of God. Jules states all the acts from God that are based on merit. The two goes onto their incident in the morning and sees the miracle. Vince decides to excuse himself by going to the bathroom to, take a crap. Vince asks Jules
He
why
always
he
goes to the
reclaimed.
bathroom at the most opportune times, doesn't he?
Right, he really does. But I like how they use the wide angle shot of the diner, because now you know that this diner was used in the prologue. So I'm over there looking in the background, because at this point I'm like, okay, so this is how everything connects now. So I'm over there looking for the two couple that are about to hold the restaurant thing now. And they even showed the backgrounds on purpose. So I like the wide angle shots of this. And then, of course, the two goes into their incident in the morning and sees the miracles. Vince decides to excuse. Okay, so Jules of why he reclaimed the incident, with Jules replying, Vince remarks to be continued. At the meantime, Honey Bunny and the Pumpkin announce their heist. The two then threatens many customers and restaurant staffs to get down at Jules. Jules calmly watches them. I like how Jules just watches them casually as they're doing everything and everybody's reacting.
One hand, the gun underneath. You have Vincent in the bathroom. Is he on the toilet or whatever with the newspaper because he had to leave?
He's got like irritable bowel syndrome.
So he leaves and he's just chilling in there, just reading the newspaper, and the heist is going on. And I remember too at that part, I'm like, oh, okay. So that's why they're okay. So, okay, it all comes together. Okay, so this is the heist, which makes sense. And then that's going on. And the poor manager who's telling the customers, just do what they want, they're gonna take their stuff, they're gonna leave until Ringo, sees Jules just sitting there and just staring at him. And when he comes over to have the conversation with them, and Jules is just like, how he is. And Ringo's looking at him like, did you just say that to me? And Jules gives him the wallet and so
this
on.
says
and
bad
so on
motherfucker
and so
on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Jules is a bad motherfucker.
He really is.
I love that wallet. I think I wanted that wallet when I was a kid.
I wouldn't be surprised if like Spencer's had it at that time, where you could actually buy one of those.
No, Spencer's had to have something.
I'm sure you
like
can still buy one.
Sure, absolutely.
Right. But I like how he sits him down and goes, look, we're going to sit down. We're going to have a conversation. Here's my wallet. It says bad motherfucker on it. There's $1,500 in here. That's yours. And you guys can go, and then guess what? You probably got about $300 or $400 out of that cash register over there.
But I like how the wife's freaking out too.
Right. She's freaking out this whole entire time.
She's freaking out. She doesn't know where to point the gun at. She's pointing it here. She's pointing it there. And honestly, at that part too, I was like, oh God, I hope he doesn't kill this man, because, the wife is concerned about him. And so you're hoping that, okay, please say that they're just going to leave out and that, she doesn't see him get killed because it's her husband or boyfriend or whatnot. And you know how Jules is, but being that he had that divine intervention happen, the dude's lucky because, he's feeling kind of,
Generous, right?
Yeah. Go ahead, John. Sorry, I had
No. You're fine.
that
If
out.
you, if there's is there anything more you want to expand on it though, or anything, or you just want to?
So the question is though, what do you guys think is in the briefcase?
Oh, the briefcase.
I was
It's
thinking
the
it was the Mac
Bible. Isn't it
10.
the Bible in there? Is it a Bible?
Okay.
I don't know.
Maybe like the first Bible ever. That's what Joe was
Maybe.
thinking. And he was like, because I guess it was made out of gold. Like the pages were actually made out of gold. Like one of the
Okay,
first
because that's why it would
Bibles.
glow when they would open it up, right?
That's
But
an interesting
I
concept.
Googled online and a lot of people say it's Marcellus's soul that he
Okay.
sold to the devil.
Okay.
And so,
Oh,
but I don't
I don't-
know. That seems,
that's a little too far fetched.
yeah. And why would you say it's like beautiful? Like, I don't know if Marcellus
Right.
has a beautiful soul. Or maybe
No.
at one time.
But they never showed it, right?
No, they
No.
never did. But I
Okay.
like the speculation of what we think as an audience would it be, so we can
Yeah.
have conversations like this.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think if it is the Bible, it kind of makes sense because in Revelations it talks about gold, it talks about rubies, it talks about all
Right.
that stuff.
And every time they
So,
open it up, it you know,
lit
their-
up.
you can see it, their face, you know, you can see it light up like it's some type
Yeah.
of gold. I thought maybe they showed it, but yeah, I wonder what was in there this whole time.
But I was also
Like
thinking
that
maybe it might be the
Indiana
Mac 10.
Right?
Briefcase
Indiana Jones.
thing. Sorry, that's what it reminded me of. The Indiana Jones like thing that you never get to see either.
Right.
Anyways.
But yeah,
I don't know. I was just curious what you guys thought it was.
if it was from today, I would say a PS5, but I would be wrong. But no, but then you see Jules come, then you end up seeing Vincent comes out and he's holding the gun to the wife now,
Right.
the honey bunny, and she's
Bunny.
looking at him. He goes, man, don't give him any of your motherfucking money. What are you doing? He goes, I'm not giving him my money. I am purchasing something from him. I'm purchasing his life
Right.
Yeah.
right now. He goes, take the money, walk away, and we won't have this discussion anymore. He goes, by the way, want to see what's inside the briefcase? He goes, oh, you know, and he shoots the guy. Or no, I'm making my own theory.
Oh, they let him go.
No, yeah,
Yeah,
he
they
lets
let
them
him
go.
At first
Jules
he gives
that's
them-
right. That's right.
He gives him a whole dialogue about
Yep.
the shepherd and
Yep.
Yep.
so there's that whole part about what he thinks he is in this world. And which I think is interesting. I think I just got that we're all sheep, right? Like
Mhm.
we're just a world full of sheep.
Right.
And I don't know. I don't really think anyone's the shepherd. I don't know. What did you guys think of the dialogue there? That whole monologue.
John, you take this one.
Okay, I think that is just basically not Vincent, but Jules's way of being the judge and jury and executioner all this time. He was judging everybody else based off of what they were doing versus how he was doing things, just like how we would judge people for things that they do. So we're basically being judged and jury and stuff like that. So with him quoting Ezekiel and trying to do it that way, it was just him judging other people and making it seem like, you know what, these people are not good, so therefore I'm going to go ahead and get rid of them.
Okay.
And trying to basically make his own rules and
Like a justification for
Right.
For murder.
for what he's doing. So
Right.
now it's totally different. Now it's flipped. Now that he
Right.
had that divine intervention, you know, and now he sees things in a different way. He doesn't think the way that he once thought, and he lets them go. And I like how Vincent tells Jules, he goes, "I think we should be going now."
Right.
Like, if you notice the details of the clothes, they're not wearing their suits. They're wearing the clothes that they had.
volleyball
When,
clothes.
yep.
Right.
So
I know. I think it's interesting that Vincent because Jules isn't going to be a gangster anymore, all of a sudden Vincent's like, you're going to be a bum then. Is that what you're going to be?
Right,
It's like, where's the middle ground though for Vincent, right? You're either a bum or you're like a gangster.
He's like, I want to be that guy in Kung Fu where he just goes around traveling the world. And he goes, you're going to be a bum.
You're going to be a bum.
I do want to bring this up really quick since we talked about Reservoir Dogs. Can I just...
Yeah.
So Reservoir Dogs, obviously 1992, 94 was Pulp Fiction, and Tarantino feature connected to the characters. So some of the characters in Pulp Fiction are related to characters in Reservoir Dogs. Jimmy Dimmick, a character in Pulp Fiction, is the brother of Mr. White, a character in Reservoir Dogs. Vincent Vega, a character in Pulp Fiction, is the brother of Vic Vega, a character in that movie as well. Other references include a character in Reservoir Dogs mentions Marcel, which is a reference to Marcellus Wallace, a villain in Pulp Fiction, and Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, Steve Buscemi.
Who played Mr. Pink in Reservoir Dogs. Obviously, he was Buddy Holly and the waiter Buddy Holly. So.
Oh yeah, I didn't even notice that.
I didn't notice that either.
Yeah, he was the waiter. So those are the connections to the two movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. So now that we stripped away the nostalgia, now that we got rid of everything, what's everybody's ratings?
So after seeing it again and seeing how everything came together towards the end, I'll give it a 5.
Okay.
Because it all comes together and then you get, and it's played backwards. So yeah, I give it a 5. I think he did a great job at that. Pretty interesting.
What about for you, Kim?
I do. I mean, after hearing like your guys' points and everything, I do feel like I didn't enjoy this movie as much as when I was a kid. I did get that. So I understand what you're saying there, Rossi. Okay. And I do remember it being longer too. Like, I don't know why, but it wasn't as long as I remember it. Maybe it's like, you know, how you're a kid.
Yeah, I didn't think you're right.
But I do think for its time, it was amazing, but you're right. I don't think as time goes on that it's as relevant, if that makes sense. But I would still, I mean, I love it. Any Quentin Tarantino movie is amazing to me. Right. So I would still give it like an 8 for sure. Right. I love it. So it's a classic.
Nice.
And I do agree that it does drag at the very beginning, and also some other scenes may not go coincide of how it would be today or anything like that. But I went from being a 1 because of the fact that I actually had to pay attention to details, pay attention to everything.
Right.
And I'm not walking in on this at 20 or 30 minutes in.
Right.
And not knowing what the hell is going on.
Right.
So I'm gonna give this an 8. I actually had fun watching it in the middle and paying attention to little details here and there with things. So yeah, I had fun just watching it and experiencing this as if basically this would be my first time if you think about it, because I didn't really watch it the first time. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8.
I think that if you're a fan of Quentin Tarantino, I think this is a film that you definitely want to revisit. If you guys have not watched this film, I think you guys should go and check it out. It is an adult film, so, you know, a lot of adult content. So you definitely want to be of age to watch this film. But I think it's definitely one that if people haven't watched it, this is one that you want to add to your watch list because, you know, it was the beginning of his career and it is a cult classic for a reason.
Exactly. And I just want to point this out. It's actually on Max right now on streaming services.
Right.
For you guys to watch. On IMDb, it has an 8.9 out of 10 on IMDb right now.
Oh yeah.
I just want to also point out too on Rotten Tomatoes as far as this goes, because I'm kind of curious about where it lands as far as they think. 92 on the tomato meter and 96 on the audience score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cult hit.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So that's going to be it as far as our Pulp Fiction review. Did you guys like this review? Did you not like it? Tell us what you guys think in the comments below. Do you still think that this movie holds up? does what was some of your favorite scenes? Tell us in the comments below. Don't forget to boop that like button, boop that subscribe button. Tell us in the comments below. Rossi, I have a question for you.
Yes.
What do you have anything coming out or anything like that's going on for your shows or anything?
Yeah, actually, well, tomorrow I am pleased to announce that I will be on the Multiverse of Geekdom. We're going to talk about the Kendrick Lamar and the Drake beef, and we're going to talk about the 6 or 7 songs that freaking Kendrick Lamar released and Drake songs, and it's going to be interesting. I can't wait to talk to the guys. Frito and Dawn will be there, so that's tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then Monday on Rossi's Clubhouse, I'll have actor Ethan Eskilson. Sorry, Ethan, if I chop your name up, I'll get it right by Monday. Anyways, he's an actor here in Sacramento. He's amazing, and he's going to come and join today at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And
Okay.
John and I, Wednesday, are we doing we're reviewing Deadpool?
Yeah, we're going to be reviewing Deadpool. And if you're up for it, we'll do scene by scene, or we'll just go and just talk about it.
Okay.
I'm fine with either one.
Yeah, however you want to do it.
How about this? We'll let you guys know when we find out on what we want to do. How about
Right.
that? So that's going to be, of course, at 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time for that, 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Also, too, next month, I will be doing a film review of Blank Check with the Film That Doesn't Age podcast, that Didn't Age Well podcast, which I thought was actually pretty fitting because they just started following me on Instagram. So I ended up messaging them. And I'm like, you know what? I want to review Blank Check. It's the 30th anniversary. There's a scene in that movie that doesn't quite hold up. And I want to be able to talk about that one particular scene as well. And just we'll look at it at a modern age. So
I also want to bring something up really quick, too. Also, sorry, guys, I forgot. On the June 19th, Kim and I will be reviewing and talking about Baby Reindeer. So if you guys haven't seen that, please go and watch it. It's going to be a spoiler review. So we're going to talk about the whole film, and then we're going to talk about the interview. So join Kim and I at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on June 19th as we review Baby Reindeer. That's going to be a fun one. I cannot wait to talk to you guys about that and see what you guys think about Baby Reindeer. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's going to be as far as this show goes, but we do have a sponsor that I want to go on ahead and put on here for everybody to check out and make sure that you guys go on ahead and get yourself one of these.
It's big. It's juicy. It's fresh. It's the Big Kahuna Burger. You want this in your life. You need this in your life. It's the most meat you'll ever need in a burger. It's the Big Kahuna, and if that's not enough, try the Big Kahuna meal with your choice of fries or chips, plus pineapples on the side and your favorite soft drink. Stop by the Big Kahuna restaurant today and treat yourself to all the meat you'll ever need.
Music and sound effects provided by Zapsplat.com.